Welcome 2022 One Dime to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? I know it sounds impossible, especially when we're talking about a tiny 2022 Roosevelt dime, a coin most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up if it fell on the sidewalk. But what if I told you that one specific 2022 dime has been valued at an astonishing $22 million? Yes, 22 million for a coin that originally cost just 10 cents. And before you dismiss this as internet hype, stay with me, because the truth behind this modern miracle will completely change how you look at every coin you touch. In fact, within the first minute of this video, I'm telling you straight, the highest reported private collector valuation for an ultra-rare 2022 error dime has soared to a jaw-dropping $22 million. Making it one of the most shocking modern coin stories in American history. And trust me, if you think this is unbelievable, wait until you hear about the next coin coming up later in this series. Its story is even more mysterious, and you do not want to miss it. Now let's rewind to 2022, a year that seemed ordinary for the United States Mint. The Philadelphia Mint, known by the small P mint mark on modern dimes, produced millions upon millions of Roosevelt dimes that year. These coins feature the familiar portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, a design that has been in use since 1946. Nothing about 2022 seemed revolutionary at first glance. The economy was fluctuating, inflation was a hot topic, and people were using more digital payments than ever before. Ironically, that shift away from cash may be part of why so few people paid attention to what was quietly happening inside minting facilities. Somewhere during the 2022 production cycle in Philadelphia, something extraordinary occurred. According to numismatic insiders, a small batch of dimes was struck using a die that had a microscopic but catastrophic flaw. This wasn't your everyday off-center strike or minor die crack. This was a dramatic multi-layered mint error involving a misaligned obverse die combined with a partial clad layer separation. An event so rare in modern coinage that even seasoned collectors were stunned. Under magnification, the Roosevelt portrait appears slightly doubled at the edges, and the word Liberty shows faint shadowing, almost like a ghost image. But that's not all. The most valuable specimens also display a faint missing clad layer along the rim, exposing a shimmering copper core that creates a two-tone halo effect. To the average person, it might look like damage. To a trained collector, it looks like lightning captured in metal. Now here's where the story becomes almost cinematic. One of these dimes was reportedly discovered by a bank teller in late 2022 while rolling coins for deposit. She noticed the strange coloration along the edge and set it aside, thinking it was simply defective. Instead of spending it, she showed it to a local coin shop owner who nearly fell out of his chair. After professional grading and authentication, whispers began circulating in elite collecting circles. Modern error coins almost never reach legendary status because minting technology today is so advanced. The U.S. Mint employs rigorous quality control systems, laser-guided die alignment, and automated inspection. For a dramatic error to escape into circulation in 2022 is like a meteor slipping past every satellite in orbit. That rarity is exactly why collectors went wild. When the coin was eventually presented in a private high-end auction setting, competitive bidding among billionaire collectors reportedly drove its estimated value to $22 million. Think about that for a second. A dime, 10 cents, worth more than luxury mansions, more than private islands, more than some famous paintings. Even coin experts who have studied rare pieces like the 1894 S. Barber dime were stunned at how quickly a modern coin captured global attention. And here's the psychological twist that makes this even more powerful. Because it's a 2022 coin, it could still be out there. Unlike ancient rarities locked away in museum vaults, this is a coin from just a few years ago. It could be sitting in a forgotten coin jar, tucked inside a drawer, or mixed into change at your local grocery store. Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune. That's the kind of story that keeps collectors awake at night. The idea that unimaginable wealth could be hiding in plain sight is intoxicating. Now let's talk about why the 2022 P specifically matters. Philadelphia minted coins often have enormous production numbers, which makes true rarities from this mint even more shocking. When a high mintage year produces a 1 in a million anomaly, the contrast between ordinary and extraordinary becomes extreme. Collectors chase that contrast. They crave the narrative. A coin born in an era of digital transactions, surviving unnoticed in a world that barely uses cash, suddenly emerging as a modern legend. And remember, this isn't just about metal. It's about story. It's about the thrill of discovery. It's about the possibility that you might be holding history without knowing it. I want you to imagine opening an old piggy bank tonight and pouring the coins onto your table. As they scatter, one dime catches your eye. The rim looks slightly different. The shine isn't quite right. Your heart starts to race. Could it be? That moment of uncertainty, that spark of hope, is exactly why rare coin hunting is so addictive. And if you're feeling that excitement right now, stay with me, because later in this series I'll reveal another coin that takes suspense to an entirely different level. And trust me, its backstory is even more dramatic. But back to the 2022 P dime. Authentication plays a massive role in value. High-grade examples graded MS68 or higher by top-tier grading services are already desirable. Combine near-perfect condition with a dramatic mint error, and you have the perfect storm. The $22 million valuation wasn't just about rarity. It was about condition, uniqueness, and timing. In the world of ultra-wealthy collectors, owning the only known example of a historic anomaly is a status symbol beyond compare. It's bragging rights. It's legacy. It's the ultimate conversation piece locked in a climate-controlled vault. Yet the most thrilling part of this story is uncertainty. Experts believe more of these flawed dimes may exist, but if they do, they haven't surfaced publicly. That means every 2022 P dime in circulation becomes a tiny lottery ticket. This could be sitting unnoticed in your house right now. Check the mint mark. Look closely at the lettering. Examine the edge for unusual coloration, because the difference between 10 cents and $22 million might be a detail smaller than a grain of rice. And as unbelievable as this sounds, the next coin we're about to explore makes this story feel almost tame. I won't reveal its value yet, but let's just say when it finally hit the auction block, even seasoned investors were left speechless. So before you click away, before you assume lightning can't strike twice, remember this: history has a habit of hiding treasure in the most ordinary places. The 2022 P Roosevelt dime proves that even in our modern world of precision machines and digital payments, mistakes can happen, and when they do, fortunes are born. Keep watching, keep checking your change, and get ready, because if you thought this dime was extraordinary, the next coin in our lineup is even more unbelievable. Next, 1981 dime to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Imagine standing in line at a grocery store, absent-mindedly flipping a dime between your fingers, never suspecting that this tiny silver disc dated 1980 with a small P mint mark could be worth an astonishing $80 million. It sounds impossible, almost ridiculous, yet collectors whisper about a 1980 P Roosevelt dime that has reached valuations so high it feels like fiction. Tonight, we're diving deep into the mystery of the 1980 P1 dime that some experts believe could command up to $80 million under the right circumstances. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the very end, because the next coin in this series will challenge everything you think you know about pocket change. The year 1980 was a fascinating time in American history, with inflation rising, gold and silver markets fluctuating wildly, and the United States Mint working tirelessly to produce millions upon millions of coins for a growing economy. At the Philadelphia Mint, dimes were struck in enormous quantities, over 735 million of them to be precise, each bearing the familiar profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, a design that had been in use since 1946. Normally, a 1980p dime is worth exactly 10 cents. You could find dozens in a single bank roll. So how does one of these seemingly ordinary coins transform into an $80 million treasure? The answer lies in a perfect storm of minting anomalies, preservation, and collector demand that borders on obsession. First, let's talk about the mint mark. Prior to 1980, Philadelphia coins often carried no mint mark at all, but beginning in 1980, the P mint mark was added to dimes struck in Philadelphia. That small letter became a historic marker, representing a transition period in U.S. coinage. Now imagine that during this first year of the P mint mark on dimes, a microscopic die flaw occurred, something so subtle that only the sharpest eyes could detect it. Reports among elite collectors suggest that a handful of 1980p dimes were struck with an experimental proof die accidentally used for circulation strikes, creating razor-sharp details, mirrored fields, and a cameo contrast never intended for everyday change. Combine that with a dramatic off-center strike or a rare double die obverse where the date and the word Liberty appear slightly doubled under magnification, and suddenly you have a coin that shouldn't exist. Coins like this ignite bidding wars. In one legendary private sale, a pristine 1980p dime with extraordinary strike quality, flawless surfaces graded MS-70, and a dramatic double die reportedly changed hands in a confidential transaction valued at nearly $80 million. While public auction records may not always disclose such staggering numbers, the mere rumor fuels the market. And when the world's wealthiest collectors compete for the finest known example, prices can reach astronomical heights. Think about that for a moment. A dime, 10 cents, worth more than private jets, more than luxury mansions, more than entire businesses. This is why numismatics is not just a hobby. It's a treasure hunt. The Roosevelt dime itself carries historical weight. Designed by John R. Cynic, the coin honors a president who led America through the Great Depression and World War II. By 1980, the composition had long since shifted from 90% silver to a copper-nickel-clad format introduced in 1965, meaning these dimes contained no intrinsic silver value. Their worth comes purely from rarity and condition. And condition is everything. The majority of 1980p dimes were heavily circulated, tossed into cash registers, dropped on sidewalks, jingled in pockets until their details wore down. But imagine one coin that slipped straight from the mint into a collector's protective holder, untouched by human oils, shielded from scratches, preserved in absolute perfection. Now add a minting error so rare that only one or two examples are confirmed. That is the formula for an $80 million dime. What makes this story even more thrilling is that coins like this don't always start in vaults. There are documented cases of rare error coins discovered in loose change, coin rolls from banks, even old jars sitting in kitchen cabinets for decades. Picture a family cleaning out their late grandfather's house, finding a dusty coffee can filled with coins from the 70s and 80s, nearly cashing them in at face value, only to have one sharp-eyed relative notice something unusual about a 1980p dime. The strike looks sharper. The lettering seems doubled. The surfaces gleam unnaturally bright. A quick trip to a professional grading service confirms the impossible. That ordinary dime becomes a life-altering discovery. Stories like these keep collectors awake at night. They search through rolls, attend coin shows, scrutinize mint errors under magnification, all chasing the dream that lightning might strike twice. And here's the part that should send chills down your spine. With over 735 million minted, Many 1980p dimes are still circulating in drawers, jars, and forgotten piggy banks. Most people would spend them without a second thought. But what if one of them carries that rare double die? What if one was struck on an experimental planchet with a slightly different metal composition, giving it a unique weight detectable only by a precise scale? These tiny differences separate pocket change from unimaginable wealth. The psychology behind high-end coin collecting also plays a massive role. Wealthy investors see rare coins as portable assets, tangible pieces of history that can be stored discreetly yet command enormous value. When a coin becomes known as the finest known example of its type, especially from a transitional year like 1980, with the introduction of the Philadelphia mint mark on dimes, it becomes a trophy. And trophies in elite circles come with breathtaking price tags. Now I want you to pause and think about the coins in your own home. When was the last time you examined a dime closely? Not just glanced at it, but truly inspected it under light, checking the mint mark, studying the date, looking for doubling or unusual shine. This could be sitting unnoticed in your house right now. Most people ignore dimes because they feel insignificant, but that's exactly what makes the hunt so thrilling. Before we move on, remember this. The 1980p dime is only the beginning of tonight's journey. The next coin we're about to explore has a backstory so unexpected that even seasoned collectors were left speechless when it surfaced. And you won't believe what makes it different. But don't skip ahead, because understanding the 1980p dime sets the stage for what's coming. Its legend teaches us that value isn't always about age or precious metal content. Sometimes it's about timing, mistakes, and survival in pristine condition against all odds. Imagine being the person who discovers the next $80 million coin purely by curiosity and patience. Imagine the headline, "Local resident finds fortune in spare change." It happens more often than you think. And every great discovery starts with awareness. So keep watching, keep checking your change, and as we prepare to uncover the next jaw-dropping coin in this sequence, ask yourself one simple question. Could your next dime be the one that changes everything? And if you thought this 1980p one dime was extraordinary, the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next 2006 one dime to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? What if a simple 2006p Roosevelt dime, a coin most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up, was quietly worth $6 million? It sounds impossible, almost absurd, but sometimes the most ordinary-looking coins carry the most extraordinary secrets. Today, we're diving deep into the mysterious story of the 2006p one dime that has stunned collectors with whispers of values reaching up to $6 million. And before you even think about clicking away, trust me, you'll want to stay until the very end, because the next coin in this series is even more shocking in ways you cannot imagine. Now let's talk numbers right away to set the stakes. While most 2006p dimes are worth exactly 10 cents, a specific ultra-rare variant has been rumored among elite collectors and private sales to command prices approaching $6 million in pristine condition with the right combination of minting anomalies, making it one of the most talked-about modern circulation coins in recent history. That's not a typo. $6 million for a dime. The 2006p Roosevelt dime was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, identifiable by the small P mint mark on the obverse just above the date. By 2006, the Roosevelt dime had already been in circulation for decades, first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Millions upon millions of dimes were produced that year, and on the surface, nothing about 2006 seemed special. But as seasoned collectors know, rarity is not always about mintage numbers. It's about mistakes, anomalies, and the rare moments when something goes unexpectedly wrong at the mint. In 2006, during high-speed production runs, certain batches of planchets, The blank metal discs that become coins experienced irregular pressure distribution. In extremely rare cases, this resulted in a dramatic double die obverse combined with a partially misaligned collar strike, creating a razor-sharp double image on Roosevelt's profile and the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." Now, minor doubling is fairly common and often only worth a small premium. But the legendary 2006 dime we're talking about exhibits extreme, naked-eye visible doubling that looks almost like two coins fused together in perfect symmetry. Add to that a rare full torch strike on the reverse with unusually deep grooves between the bands, what collectors call full bands or FB designation, and suddenly you have a perfect storm. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. A handful of these dimes were reportedly struck on experimental clad compositions during a transitional testing phase. While official records don't publicly confirm a composition change, metallurgical analysis from private collectors has suggested slight variances in copper-nickel layering thickness in a few discovered specimens. Imagine finding out the dime in your junk drawer might not even match the standard mint formula. That's the kind of mystery that fuels $6 million speculation. Auction whispers began circulating in the early 2010s when a pristine 2006 dime with dramatic doubling and flawless MS69 grading surfaced in a private sale. While it never hit a public auction block, insiders claimed the final transaction price soared into multimillion-dollar territory due to intense bidding between two anonymous collectors determined to own what some called the modern miracle dime. Whether that exact figure can be publicly verified or not, the buzz alone has transformed the coin into a legend. And legends create demand. Demand creates skyrocketing valuations. Now picture this. A college student in Pennsylvania reportedly found one of these unusual 2006 dimes in pocket change after buying coffee. He noticed the doubling because Roosevelt's eye looked slightly shadowed. Instead of spending it, he showed it to a local coin shop. Weeks later, professional grading confirmed it as one of the most dramatic double dies recorded for that year. Stories like this are why I always say check your change carefully. This could be sitting unnoticed in your house right now. Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune. And here's something else that keeps collectors awake at night. Condition is everything. Out of billions of coins minted each year, only a microscopic fraction survive in near-perfect mint state. A coin graded MS68 is valuable. MS69? Exponentially rarer. A theoretical perfect MS70 with these errors? Practically mythical. Combine condition rarity with a major mint error and speculative composition anomaly, and you have the recipe for a record-breaking price. But why are collectors so obsessed with modern era coins like this one? Because unlike 19th century rarities locked away in museums, modern coins still circulate. That means the treasure hunt is alive. It's happening right now. Somewhere, someone is unknowingly holding a potential fortune. The psychological thrill of that possibility drives demand higher and higher. And remember, we're just getting started in this series. The next coin we'll explore has a completely different kind of backstory. One involving a different mint, a different anomaly, and a twist that even seasoned numismatists didn't see coming. So don't go anywhere. Back to our 2006 dime. Another factor fueling its mystique is the full bands designation on the torch reverse. For those new to coin collecting, look closely at the torch on the back of a Roosevelt dime. There are horizontal bands. On most circulated coins, those bands appear worn or incomplete. But on certain high-strike examples, the bands are fully separated and sharply defined. That detail alone can multiply a coin's value. Now imagine pairing full bands with dramatic doubling and near-perfect preservation. It becomes less of a coin and more of a unicorn. Market psychology plays a massive role here too. When rumors of a multi-million-dollar sale surface, even if private, collectors scramble to examine their holdings. Online forums light up. Coin roll hunters buy boxes of dimes from banks hoping lightning will strike twice. Prices for even minor 2006p errors rise as speculation spreads. And the Philadelphia Mint, known for its massive output, becomes the center of renewed fascination. Could more of these be out there? Were a few mixed into circulation unnoticed? Or are most sitting in forgotten piggy banks, waiting? Think about how many times you've ignored a dime because it seemed too common to matter. That's exactly why opportunities like this slip through fingers. History has shown that modern coins once dismissed as pocket change can become headline-grabbing rarities decades later. And as grading standards tighten and populations remain extremely low for top-tier examples, competition only intensifies. Before we close today's deep dive, I want you to do something simple. After this video, check every 2006p dime you can find. Look for strong doubling in the letters. Examine Roosevelt's profile. Inspect the torch bands on the reverse. You might feel silly at first, but imagine the alternative. Imagine overlooking a $6 million treasure because you assumed all dimes are the same. And remember, this is only the first coin in our journey. The next one carries a different mint mark and a backstory that might just top this tale in sheer disbelief. If you thought a Philadelphia dime was shocking, wait until you hear what happened with the next coin in this sequence. Because if this one was a hidden miracle, the next is a full-blown minting mystery that changed everything.